And hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Sauced. It is I, Gil Salcedo, your partner in crime as we adventure through a new. Today, we're doing a wine. We always do a new drink. We taste through it, talk about pairing suggestions, the style, where it's from, just kind of brief overview. Don't get too heady into it. We're really just about experiencing the wine, enjoying it, and then at the end we rate. We do a simple scale of 1 to 10 because why not? It's fun. And yeah, we're going to do it again today. Happy to have you all here. Today we are doing an Italian rosé. So this is from La Spinetta from Tuscany. And this is their rosé. It's called Il Rosé di Casanova. And it's got a great label. It's got like a rhino diagram. Albrecht Drewer, right? Isn't that who that AD guy is? Whenever you see, I need to look that up. Let's see. But anyways, let's try this wine first before we get into the artwork. I just noticed that too. Thought it was just a kind of a cool little rhino drawing. But it looks like it's. We'll look into it. We'll see it. I think it might be what I think it is. So this is a rosé from Tuscany. It is 50% Sangiovese, and then the other 50% is Prugnolo Gentile. So obviously Sangiovese, much more common varietal. Italy has, I think, something close to 1,000, probably even more than that, indigenous varietals, distinct varietals that you can still find there, that still grow. But yeah, let's try this wine out. I love this wine already. Yeah, killer wine, good acidity. It's an Italian wine. That's what they're known for. Their food has a lot of acid naturally, just all the tomato, really just tomato a lot, and vinegars and things like that. How's that pronounced? Acidity. Good kind of like floral. I mean, I know it's a rosé, but almost like a slight rose quality to it. Definitely some red fruit, if there's some, of the subtle fruit that's there. Good nose on this. I'm not doing a fancy glass or anything. I just did my little plastic stemless. I think my nose is still a little off. I had the COVID, so this was months ago, but I think it's still affected a little bit. But yeah, it's got a little bit of that kind of oily mouthfeel, even though it has the acid. It's got a little bit of that, just a little bit of viscosity to it. We are looking at 12.5% alcohol. Nice where it's supposed to be. I can see this as like an Italian, Provence rosé style. You know what I mean? A little bit of like earthy, not herbaceousness, but a little bit of that kind of leafy vegetable subtly. Those aren't the right words, but yeah, it's got a little bit of that. Great food wine. This reminds me of a killer. I want to have this with this killer octopus dish. I think it's just like a little octopus salad, and it's a cold salad with tomato and perfectly cooked octopus, ideally, and a few other little items. But those are the really main stars. And it's bright. It's obviously very, oceany, fresh seafood quality to it with the octopus. Good acid from the tomato, and a little bit of sweetness from the tomato. Mm. And then you wash it down with this. I dig this wine. How crowd friendly is this wine? I think it's pretty fucking crowd friendly, actually. And actually, the more I drink it, kind of grows on you. It has a good finish, good kind of lingering finish. Red fruits, maybe like unripe raspberry, maybe a little tart cherry, but yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I think all those are spot on. Tart raspberry, a little bit of, maybe a little bitter cherry, a little bit of that kind of floralness, like a subtle rose quality or like a red flower kind of quality. Good acid, a little bit of kind of savoriness. With all that being said, it's a $20 bottle of wine. This is the 2020. Let's look it up. I actually started to pull this up, and then so let's look at their text sheets. I usually don't like to look at the text sheets until after we taste the wine, because a lot of times they're really trying to push you to having a certain experience, or at least I feel like it. Maybe they're not trying to push you, but like it definitely gets you going that way if before you try anything, whether it's a wine or whiskey, just anything. If someone's already telling you what the experience is before, it definitely impacts it. Like, oh, so what you're going to love about this is it's got well balance of tannins and all this, and you're like, let me drink it and kind of just. So blind tasting is so important, and me and my previous guest Sal are going to start doing blind tastings where we both brown bag something. Maybe we'll do a wine one week, or we'll do a certain category. Maybe we'll do like white wines, and then we'll go to IPAs, or we'll try to keep it within some. We'll add some kind of constraints to it, just so it's not like we're drinking champagne and fucking Guinness. You know what I mean? Like, but really, that way we can blindly approach it. You're really just using your senses. Obviously, you want to be able to see what you're drinking. You could do a step further and get the black glasses or that black cups and drink from that. Or just to go totally blindfolded, but we're not going to get that crazy. But we're going to bring that soon, so be excited about that. Yeah, inspired by Provençal Rosé. Very pleasant to drink, floral, fruity, bouquet, citrus. Mediterranean scrub. Maybe that, yeah, I mean, that's that kind of like, I think that's just Italy though. Not every time, but I tend to like, Italian wines tend to have that kind of like certain something that's kind of herbaceous. I mean, Mediterranean scrub. I mean, that sounds like how it tastes, but that sounds like the right way to describe it, but I would never come up with those words. On the palate, it is wonderfully fresh and delicate with satisfying minerality and an all-embracing acidity. Okay, so it's very, I mean, that's what you want to. Oh, look at this. Jesus. Okay, de-stimming. Oh, wait, to get back to what I was saying, you need acid in these wines. You know what I mean? I mean, imagine you have this wine at your Italian restaurant or just really anywhere that has food. Like, that's what, I mean, and I've said this before, folks. I think I said this last episode. This is where wine sings. It, like, especially if you're not into wine. You can't just sit here and enjoy having a couple glasses of wine, not having it with anything. Start, finding a good pairings. Start with what they actually mention. I'm sure they mention they don't have food pairings on here, but they do at the bottom: octopus and potato salad. I've never had octopus and potato salad. That sounds good. I said octopus and tomato salad. That's funny. Spaghetti. Okay. Yeah, I mean, why not with spaghetti with sea urchins? I'm sorry, I'm not even reading this right. Octopus and potato salad, spaghetti and sea urchins. Pretty specific there, La Spinetta, but yeah. I say octopus. Yeah, maybe octopus and spaghetti now. And sea urchins and potatoes. We'll just mix them all up. But this is what I was excited about. It's got like a whole... All right, so this is the vinification, and that is the actual wine production process. And I mean, how long are we into this? Should we get deep into 12 minutes in? We're not doing too bad. All right. So brief overview is that it is wine. The whole wine production process is, I mean, pretty straightforward, but it's kind of segmented into different areas. And a lot of times those areas, as far as the actual viticulture of the wines, and that is the growing of the vines and maintaining of the vines and knowing when to drop fruit and, to produce a better quality product, and when to basically how to maintain the vines to produce the best or whatever your desired grapes are to produce. Now, if you're doing tons of bulk grapes, you're trying to produce as much as possible. If you're trying to do something more select where you're producing less yield of grape, but you're creating a more complex and more desired and more sought after and higher quality product, essentially. And then there's the actual vinification process. And a lot of times, there's a lot of people that are farmers and viticulturists that just grow the grapes. And they have contracts or they sell at the end of the harvest to, just whoever's looking to buy whatever varietals they're growing. And, they'll change what they grow based on trends and what people are looking for, and depending on where their vineyard's located. Okay, Mac, come on. Mac wants to make a cameo. What's up? He's the one doing all the hard work behind the scenes, editing. Right? How's the editing going? Okay. He always looks sad. It's just his puppy face. Get your toy. Get your toy, Bubba. Go get it. It's in there. Go get it. But anyways, and then there's actual... You went off on a tangent there. I knew we should probably do this for a whole separate episode. But so there's basically growing the grapes, and then there's actually the process of deciding, all right, now that we have our grapes, or we bought these grapes from across town, or whatever the situation is, how are we going to make the actual wine? And this is going to tell us. So they destemming and off pressing without overstressing the berries. So all right. So very meticulous and careful destemming and soft pressing. So that's destemming the grapes and then doing a soft pressing without overly, manhandling and bruising and lowering the quality of the fruit. The must remains in brief contact with the skins in order to obtain an extremely balanced, free-run juice. So the must is the skins and the pulp and some seeds, but it's basically majority of what's happening here is the skins of the Sangiovese and the Pugnolo Gentile are coming in contact with the juice that is coming from the pressing. And that's where the rosé comes from. So it's free-run juice, and then alcohol fermented for 10 days, followed by an aging in stainless steel tanks on its lees for 3 months. So the lees is the spent yeast from the fermentation process. So the alcohol fermentation is going on for 10 days. The yeast that they put in there has now turned the sugars into alcohol, and now they're going to age it in a totally neutral tank on the yeast for 3 months. And I think that's where that kind of mouthfeel comes from. It's like, oh, it has bright acidity, good fruit, kind of, some nice floral savory notes, but then it has kind of a mouthfeel that gives it viscosity. It's high acid and it's 12.5% alcohol. So high acid, bright, cleansing, and then the, relatively moderate level of alcohol, you would think that it would be a little bit more, I don't want to say clean, but a little bit more aggressive on the palate, but it's actually got some nice, pleasing, it's got a pleasing mouthfeel. And just the way it feels and it sits on the tongue helps probably with some of that lingering aftertaste. I dig this wine, guys, for what it is, and I think this is a freaking huge crowd pleaser. So bring this to, oh my gosh, if you're hanging out with your lady friend, or if you're hanging out with your guy friend, or if you're hanging out with your they friend. then this would be fun. But also barbecues and going over, it's going to be a crowd pleaser. If they're into wine, and the rosé is kind of a good medium because people know that it's not just sweet wine now. Like for the longest time, people just thought anything pink was basically white Zinfandel. That's not the case, especially now the market is dominated by drier styled, mineral driven rosés. And yeah, they're great. People that don't know if they like white or red or they like both, but you got a diverse group, so you got to kind of help the guy that drinks Pinot Noir, but also help the lady that drinks Sauvignon Blanc. You're like, hey, get this rosé. Share a bottle of this rosé. Yeah, I'm going to give it a pretty high score. I think I'm going to give it I'm going to give it an 8.4. It's a solid 8.4, and it's only because not only do I really like it, enjoy it, think it's got some nice complexity, relatively inexpensive, although, $20 is $20 still. You can go get one for less money, but for everything that this is, and I also should say it's sustainably farmed. It is also just sustainably farmed. I thought it had something else on it. I must be thinking of a different one. Yeah, so it's sustainable farmed. Whatever that means. I'm just kidding. Okay. I'm sure they got someone came over to the farm and was like, yeah, this looks sustainable. It's got we're going to look up see if the label information, technical shit, label. What? Yeah, so it's from 1515. I knew this. I thought this guy was Dutch or something. Albrecht Dürer. German painter, Albrecht Dürer. Let's see if the rhino. Yep, rhino. Dürer's rhinoceros. So it is a famous. It's not a painting. It's a wood cutting. So it's a famous wood cutting from German painter and printmaker Albrecht Dürer in 1515. It actually says 1515 right there. 1515. The image is based on a written description and brief sketch by an unknown artist of an Indian rhinoceros that arrived in Lisbon in 1515. Albrecht never saw the actual rhinoceros, which was the first living example seen in Europe since Roman times. Damn, he did a good fucking drawing from just what people were saying. He didn't even see this thing. Wow. Art and wine, folks. Art and wine. And on that, I think we can't get better than that. Il Rosé de Casanova. Albrecht Dürer's wood etching of a rhinoceros, which he had never seen in person, only heard the accounts of, and a beautiful Italian rosé. Again, Sangiovese. Pugnolo Gentile. And we gave it 8.4. And we're glad we gave it 8.4. Because honestly, that's what it deserved. And this is what you deserve. A cheers from me to you. Clink. Come back. And when you do, I'll see you then. Until next time. Bye. You want to say bye, Mac? Come here. All right. Say bye.